Welcome to Psych with Sigmund, the podcast where we explore the fascinating world of psychology and its relevance to our everyday lives. Today, we're going to delve into a concept that has far-reaching implications for how we think, feel, and behave: psychological priming. Psychological priming refers to the phenomenon where exposure to certain stimuli or cues influences our thoughts, feelings, or behaviors without us even realizing it. This can happen through subtle suggestions, environmental triggers, or even our own internal associations. For instance, have you ever walked into a bakery and suddenly felt a strong craving for freshly baked cookies? That's priming at work. The aroma of the bakery has triggered an association in your brain that links the smell to the pleasure of eating cookies. The concept of psychological priming emerged in the 1970s, with researchers like Robert Rosenthal and John Bargh conducting groundbreaking studies on the topic. Since then, our understanding of priming has evolved significantly, with numerous theories and frameworks attempting to explain its mechanisms. One key framework is the idea of associative memory, which suggests that our brains store information in networks of associated concepts, emotions, and experiences. When we encounter a cue or stimulus, it activates these associations, influencing our subsequent thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. One of the most influential theories related to priming is the concept of embodied cognition, proposed by psychologists like Andy Clark and David Chalmers. This theory suggests that our cognitive processes are deeply rooted in our bodily experiences and sensory perceptions. For example, research has shown that people who hold a warm cup of coffee are more likely to perceive others as friendly and trustworthy, while those holding a cold cup are more likely to view them as unfriendly. This is because the physical sensation of warmth or coolness primes our brains to associate certain traits with others. In one classic study, psychologist John Bargh had participants complete a task that involved words related to elderly people, such as wrinkle or Florida. Afterwards, when asked to walk down the hallway, those who had been exposed to these words walked more slowly than those who hadn't. This is because the words had primed their brains to associate old age with slow movement. Another fascinating example of priming can be seen in the realm of consumer behavior. Researchers have found that people who are shown pictures of money or reminded of financial transactions are more likely to behave selfishly and prioritize their own interests over others. On the other hand, those who are exposed to cues related to cooperation, such as images of friends or family, are more likely to engage in altruistic behaviors. Priming also has significant implications for our emotional lives. For instance, research has shown that people who are exposed to sad music or videos are more likely to experience negative emotions and ruminate on their problems. Conversely, those who listen to uplifting music or watch inspiring stories are more likely to feel positive and motivated. In therapeutic settings, understanding psychological priming can be a powerful tool for helping individuals overcome phobias, anxieties, or other mental health challenges. For example, exposure therapy, which involves gradually exposing patients to feared objects or situations, relies heavily on priming principles. By carefully controlling the environment and cues, therapists can help patients rewire their brains to associate feared stimuli with safety and relaxation. So, how can we apply our understanding of psychological priming to our everyday lives? One practical strategy is to become more mindful of the cues and stimuli that surround us. For instance, if you're trying to quit smoking, avoid places or situations that trigger memories of smoking, as these can prime your brain to crave a cigarette. On the other hand, if you're trying to improve your relationships, surround yourself with people who support and encourage you, as their positive energy can prime your brain to feel more confident and self-assured. In conclusion, psychological priming is a powerful concept that highlights the complex interplay between our environment, cognition, and behavior. By recognizing the subtle influences of priming, we can take control of our thoughts, feelings, and actions and create a more intentional, compassionate, and fulfilling life. As you go about your day, remember that your brain is constantly being primed by the world around you, so choose your cues wisely. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, may your ego find balance between pleasure and reality.